Welcome into the Middle of Nowhere Gaming Podcast, episode 16. That means 4 months. Yes!
Yeah!
Today I have with me the wonderful Brendan.
Hello.
And the lovely Lou.
Hello!
Hello!
Jeez.
Oh, I love doing that. So, anyways, anything worth mentioning before we get rolling? Lou?
I fell victim to the 14 for 14 sale.
Ah, so did I.
I came out with like
6
8 games.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I've only played like one of them so far.
For those who
Two.
are consecutive listeners, last week I was like, I'm not interested in any games. I'm not spending the money on this. And yeah, that backfired.
Yeah, I knew I was going to buy games right away, right when I saw it announced. Oh, well. Brendan, anything exciting going on in your life?
Nope.
Nope. Well, don't kill yourself. Oh, just kidding, man. Please don't hurt me. You're bigger than me. As for me, the only thing exciting for me is that I switched majors. I'm not an education major anymore. I'm a history major. Woo, boring. Yeah, and I changed my schedule last week, the week before school started. And so, like, I've been having to tell all my friends and family, I switched majors, I'm not in education anymore, and everything like that, and new class schedule, and then since I've switched my class schedule, I've started to go back on that switch, and am changing my class schedule even more, and so I've become the Microsoft of going back on my class schedule decisions. Every time I make a decision, a few days later, I'm like, well, you know what I said back then? I'm actually changing my mind a little bit about that. So yeah, I'm Microsoft now.
For the listeners, he actually put down Microsoft joke on the outline.
Bazinga. Ha-ha! All right, let's move on to the news from nowhere.
Boop.
Yeah, that was... I
like the whistle.
I don't know
I
if that was...
requested that.
I don't know if that was the right note or tune. I just kind of...
No, it totally wasn't. But that's... For the record, I requested that, like, episodes ago, and you said, no, we can't do that. We're just going to go with some jingle.
That was like episode 4. Long time ago.
Okay, so anyway, I'm going to start off the news.
Roll it.
Nintendo stocks went down 18% after revising their figures. They estimated originally that they were going to sell 9 million Wii U consoles expected by March. They've lowered that to a way more conservative 2.8 million. This was really big news initially, but after the 18% drop, it rose up another 8%, making it a net loss of just about 10%, and that puts them still above what they were for this last Christmas. So, realistically, the stocks didn't change too much.
Yeah, I don't know. The biggest part about that was the revision of 9 million all the way down to 2.8. That was crazy big difference.
Oh, it's absolutely astonishing.
It's 75% less almost.
Yeah, but everyone said right from the get-go that was just overestimating by far, and there was no way they were going to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be really interesting to hear what Iwata says at the eventual investors conference, which is going to happen, I think, later this month, maybe?
Yeah, okay.
So I'll probably be reporting on that. The second one's also made, the second news story. It's about a rumor that's been circulating on the internet saying that the specs for Nintendo's next generation system might have come around. It was going off of a quote-unquote reliable source that has predicted things well in the future or knew of things well in the future, and it's called the Nintendo Fusion. It will be a dual handheld / console system, and the specs are decently impressive. I think they say the specs. I don't know what specs look like, to be honest, but they're saying that they look much better than the PS4 at the moment. By the point it's released, it might not be. They don't say when it's going to be released. Everything about it's kind of questionable. There's a big Kotaku article right now about kind of questioning whether or not this is a reliable source. But either way, you know that Nintendo's probably working on their next console. It might not be ready for release, but I'm sure they jump right on that chip as soon as the last console's out.
Yeah, I was looking at the specs earlier, and now I mean they're comparable to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but I wouldn't necessarily say they're better. They may have been in some aspects, but they were trailing behind in RAM and a few other things, and so it was just like, you win some, you lose some on certain specs that they were throwing out there, and so it'll be interesting to see if any of this is true. If any of it's the right specs, or if they're going to be better or worse or whatever. But I do agree that they're absolutely working on the next Nintendo console, because I think the article quoted something like every major company, when they produce a console, they start working on the next one within a year or two after the one is released. That way they can be ready, 5-6 years down the road.
Right.
I just want to see Nintendo do well.
I know. I just want them to succeed.
Everyone's rooting for them. Everyone has started off on Nintendo. I firmly believe that.
Your audio quality just got really bad.
Sweet. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yay.
Yep, it's better.
All right. So, as I was saying, everyone starts out on Nintendo. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, I think it's just like back when gaming was actually in trouble. Like after the Atari thing, it was about to die, and people thought video games were just going to go away. And then Nintendo came out with, I think, the Super Nintendo, and it actually created a huge resurgence in gaming.
The Super Famicom. Yeah.
It actually spawned what we have now.
For sure. Nintendo's the shit. So let's move on, though. Next on the list is The Last of Us. First downloadable content was dated, and it's coming out on Valentine's Day, February 14th.
For all of us that have nothing else to do.
I will be playing it alone in my room on Valentine's Day. Yeah. Expect a review. I'll review that shit for sure.
Can a fungus being
or somebody will.
Valentine's Day?
Somebody will. I don't know if I will, but somebody will. Yeah, fungus on Valentine's. That's hotness. Next, Bound by Flame, an action RPG, won't be coming to Xbox One in the foreseeable future. The producer Walid Milid or something, I can't pronounce names. He confirmed that the game is currently targeting PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC only, though an Xbox One version may happen sometime down the line. He says, "We don't have plans right now for Xbox One. It's not excluded, but we don't have plans for it right now. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to get a development kit on time, and we didn't want our schedule to slip, so no plans right now for Xbox One." Which makes sense with all of the information that came out about how Xbox One was not catering towards indie developers at first, and they went back on their plan on that later, which was too late for a lot of companies to get their games out on Xbox One. And so this falls all in line with that. It makes a lot of sense. I personally am really excited for Bound by Flame. I love the trailer. Everybody should go look it up if they haven't heard of it. It looks awesome.
I haven't looked at it. I'm looking it up now.
You definitely should. You want to get the next one, Brendan?
Yeah. There's a Killzone Shadowfall update. Clan system will be added in February.
Everybody likes clans.
Yeah, of course. Especially when everyone leaves and you're just there. Not that that's happened to me, of course.
No.
But there's 2 new multiplayer maps announced, but no release date.
Fair enough. Sounds like a typical first-person shooter.
Maybe it's a musical DLC.
Yeah. You can only hope. So your prediction will be right. Next on the list, The Witcher 3 is confirmed not coming to Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3.
Good.
Yeah, I know. CEO Marcin Iwinski, somebody, says it's impossible. It would have to be a different game. A smaller game, not an open world game, or terrible loading times with sacrifices and graphics. He said that the difference in quality between Xbox One and PlayStation 4 version of The Witcher 3 and the PC iteration is not huge because the new consoles are actually brand new PCs. So that is really exciting. I am so pumped.
I'm very happy when you do something like this because I hate when I see various games sacrificing quality to get to get a larger user base.
Yep.
For instance, DC Universe Online would probably look phenomenal on the PlayStation 4, like it did originally on the PC. And once they opened it to the PlayStation 3, apparently the quality fell through the roof.
Yep. That doesn't surprise me.
Well, fell down from the roof.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. Like, when you think about it, The Witcher 3 is not coming out until this fall. And so the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One install base is going to be way bigger by then. You know, it's going to be pushing 10 million per, and it could be even higher than that. And so they're not sacrificing a whole lot by keeping it only next gen and PC, because The Witcher didn't have a huge install base to begin with. You know, it wasn't like it was selling 20 million copies on The Witcher 1 or The Witcher 2. And so this just totally makes sense, because The Witcher 3 is going to look beautiful. And so by the time it comes out, people are going to see it. Even like the hardcore gamers know about it right now. The less hardcore gamers only know about it because us hardcore people tell them. You know, and then the casual gamers are going to finally see this game once the rest of us start getting it, and they're going to start buying into it 2, 3, 4 months down the road, and it's going to sell a lot. That's my opinion.
I can see that.
Yeah, the only way I know about that game is because Courtney talks about it.
It's so awesome. So then the next news is the biggest news this past week. Lou, you want to cover it, or?
Sure. Let's see.
I don't know how to pronounce it. That's why I don't want to cover it.
You mean
I'm going to say Machinima. Machinima?
No, Machinima.
So you know how.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to cover it then?
It's okay.
Well, it doesn't matter. Lou, go for it. Start us off.
Machinima reportedly was paying YouTubers for positive Xbox One coverage. The promotion outlined in what appears to be leaked emails to this is written terribly. All right, I'm gonna
it's copied and pasted straight from IGN. So fuck you, IGN.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, so we're just
You're never
stealing
gonna
it
hear
from
that
them.
out of Courtney's mouth again.
Yeah, some of them are, some of them aren't.
Okay, well, anyway, they were what was happening was they were reportedly paying these various YouTube personalities for positive coverage on Xbox One things. There were certain specifications. They had to show certain games. It had to be a certain amount of screen time, and they got $3 per 1,000 video views from Microsoft or Machinima or whoever was giving it to them.
Machinima.
Yeah. It was also stipulated that the producers tag their videos XB1M13 and post between 3 a.m. Eastern Time, January 13th, and sometime on February 10th to be eligible for payment. Machinima made a comment saying this partnership between Machinima and Microsoft was a typical marketing partnership to promote Xbox One in December. The Xbox team does not review any specific content or provide feedback on content. Any confidentiality provisions, terms, or other guidelines are standard documents provided by Machinima. For clarity, confidentiality relates to the agreements themselves, not the existence of the promotion. Microsoft put out a statement saying Microsoft was not aware of individual contracts Machinima had with their content providers as part of this promotion, and that they didn't provide feedback on any of the videos. They've asked Machinima to not post any additional Xbox One content as part of the media buy and have asked them to add disclaimers to the videos that they were part of the program. What do you think about this, Courtney?
We'll see at the very end of that sentence that you didn't finish. It said that they were part of this program, indicating that they were part of paid advertising. So, like, this makes sense if every video that was put out by Machinima's people ended said paid by Microsoft or paid for by Microsoft. You know, like on political campaign commercials, paid for by Barack Obama, paid for by, or sponsored by, that kind of thing. Because then that would make sense, because why would Microsoft talk bad on their own stuff? But if you're paying a third party to do your advertising and all they're doing is saying, yeah, it's great, but they don't say paid for Microsoft, that's where it gets sketchy. That's like false advertising and stuff like that.
We're going to start seeing like super PACs come into the video game industry.
So
I mean,
go on.
one of the things I really don't go on Machinima too much. This isn't an IGN site. This isn't like necessarily reviewing specialty kind of media. I mean, it's specialty media as in they do gameplay videos and stuff, but they don't necessarily review things, do they?
I have no idea. I don't keep track.
I don't think so. I think they just like they have their videos of their own, but they also like have a bunch of other YouTube channels like in what they call their Machinima network, and I think it's kind of like
Go on. I don't know anything about them.
I don't know, it's kind of from what I see, it's kind of like a federation where it's like made up of different like content providers, but
Yeah.
all under like the same, under like one central place that puts it all out. I don't understand it all myself, but that's just like my impression of what Machinima is.
Huh. Yeah, well, it's Microsoft's definitely playing it wasn't us, man. Don't blame us. We have no idea what the fuck they were doing. So that's which is understandable. You wouldn't expect Microsoft to admit saying, hey, we totally told them to do this. They're just like, we had no idea what the fuck they were doing, but we told them to stop. Huh?
Might be
Right.
guys.
Yeah, exactly. So now, what do you think about it, Lou?
I really have no opinion on it. I'm not sure if it's necessarily a reliable media source to begin with, or anything that people are relying too heavily for reviews or for information. And, if it's paid advertising, it's paid advertising, or if it's just, grassroots advertising, it's grassroots advertising. I think they influence me the same either way.
Yeah.
I could care if it was IGN doing it, if it was Microsoft paying IGN to do it, I'd care. But I think for this news source, I don't really see myself caring too much.
Yeah, exactly. If it was a bigger thing like Game Informer or IGN or something, I think that would be a bigger deal. But since it's them, I don't really care. I think it's a little sketchy, but whatever. It's not affecting me whatsoever, and it's not going to make me buy or not buy an Xbox One because of this. So,
Right. It's just more bad press to throw on Microsoft's
exactly.
pile of
Oil throwing it on the fire, or water throwing it on the
God.
fire, or whatever. I don't fucking know my sayings. I don't care. All right, Lou. Brendan, what's next?
Dead Rising 3 gets a patch.
Woo!
1.3 gigabytes.
What? What'd you say?
Oh, 13 gigabytes.
13 gigabytes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a big patch.
It's a huge patch.
Whoops. Tons of fixes and support for DLC.
Yeah, I was looking at the list of fixes, and it was just like this giant bullet list. And I was like, yeah, I'm not listing all that shit. So
Will you be able to kill more zombies at the same time?
probably. Now, there's a bunch of balancing fixes and things like that, and adding in content for their DLC and adding in support for DLC to be able to patch it in whenever it finally comes out, all the rest of it and stuff.
Now,
So-
does it include all the information for the DLC? Like, are they just essentially going to give it an unlock code at some point, like how most demos work now?
I have no idea. It probably was just patching in support. Some games don't provide space for their DLC in the actual game or whatever, especially if it's part of the game and not like a separate thing. And so sometimes you have to go in and add space, basically saying, here in the code is where we need to put the DLC, and so they got to do it ahead of time to make sure it's there. So I don't know if that answered your question. I may have just rambled on about something completely different. Who knows?
Close enough.
We are talking about Crackdown, right?
That Halo 6. Okay, Resogun DLC coming to PlayStation 4. Developer Housemarque has announced on Resogun's Facebook page that they are working on DLC as well as another unannounced PlayStation 4 title. Probably Super Resogun 2 or something.
Electric Boogaloo?
Wasn't their first game Super Stardust?
Maybe.
Super Resodust. That's it. That's the next game. I think that's Housemarque's PlayStation 4 game coming up.
I feel bad for them. I don't know how they're going to top that critically. Like that was just a fantastic game in most reviews.
Yeah, it was. But so was Super Stardust. It was phenomenal when it was first released. And if I remember correctly, I believe somebody on Podcast Beyond this week predicted that Housemarque was going to get bought by Sony, which wouldn't surprise me. So I mean, if they get bought by Sony, they're gonna be okay.
Oh yeah,
They're gonna be okay anyways. They're great company.
absolutely.
But yeah. So Brendan, you want to cover this last one since it's probably your most exciting news?
Yes.
Microsoft
has announced the Fable trilogy. Yay!
Yay!
We don't have a laugh track or like a cheer track, but
Kicking chickens and stuff.
yeah, that's an achievement.
So
But it will go on sale the same day as the Fable Anniversary. It will include Fable Anniversary and downloads for Fable 2 and Fable 3. There's no price yet, but it'll probably be $60.
Yeah, $60 guess was me. There's nobody else saying that. There's no price yet, but I assume at the $40 Fable Anniversary, they will add the old games in for only another $20, since you can get them for like $9.99 anywhere else anyways.
You can get it like Fable 2 for cheaper.
Yeah, you can get it for like $4, and then Fable 3 for like $9.
This summer I bought Fable 2 for about $3 and like Fable 3 for like $7.
Yep. So, but it'll be on Microsoft's store. So who knows how stingy they're going to be? Because sometimes when they release games on for download, they're like, "Well, I don't care if you can buy the physical copy for $2. We're charging $30."
They already like sold or gave away Fable 2 for free.
Fable 3. Fable 3
Fable
was
3.
a game for gold back in July, I believe, something like that. I think it was way back then. Anyways, that wraps up the news from nowhere, the good stuff. We're gonna move into our topic of the week. You want to intro this, Lou?
Sure. The topic this week. Last week we did the predictions for 2014. This week it is our three most anticipated games for 2014. That's going to be the three most anticipated for each of us. Much like how we did it last week. We're probably going to go in rotation again.
Sure, if that's what you want to do.
Absolutely. Are we going from our most anticipated to least anticipated of our most anticipated? I'm having a hard time
How about
talking.
least to most?
Least to most?
Yes.
Least to most.
Oh, that means I have to actually order the three. Okay. Sure, we could do that. Let's go ahead and start off with Jason, because Jason, like last week, wasn't able to make it on the podcast because he has work, but he submitted his three most. I'm going to go from his bottom to his top, from 3 to 1. So
it looks just about right.
That would make sense to me. All right, so for his third most anticipated game, he says NHL 15. I'm a huge fan of EA's hockey series and can't wait to get my hands on the first next-gen version of the series. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a hockey fan, but I could see how the next-gen version would be awesome, so that's pretty cool. Brendan, you want to go?
Yeah. My third most anticipated game is probably Titanfall.
Titanfall. Okay.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you, sir, like Titanfall?
Well, the idea of it looks really cool, and from the gameplay I've seen, it just looks awesome.
Yeah, it does. It does look really cool.
No comment.
No comment. Okay. Lou, what's yours? Number 3.
My third is going to be Volume.
What the fuck is that?
That is an indie game that we haven't talked about on the podcast yet.
Ah.
It's made by Mike Bithell, who also made Thomas Was Alone.
Oh, okay.
Which I just reviewed.
Which you
by
just
the way,
reviewed.
check it out on the website.
middleofnowheregaming.com.
Mong.
Right. Anyway, the premise of it's nothing like Thomas Was Alone. It's a
So you mean it's not blocks jumping up and down?
Thomas
No,
was
it's not.
together?
It looks like an over-the-top stealth music-based game. And there hasn't been a lot about it out. It's been a couple of trailers here and there. I recommend going and looking at it. It's really just piqued my interest because I love music-based games. I love stealth games, and I haven't played a good stealth game in years now.
Thief. I can't wait for that next month.
Oh, yeah? Is that going to be on your list?
No,
Anyway.
no, but you said stealth-based, and it just immediately came to mind.
Right. So I'm really excited to see what he does with this. I think that from what I've played, his games have been pretty funny, and I really do respect comedy within a video game. So, yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes.
Fair enough. My number 3 is Dragon Age Inquisition. I was a huge fan of Dragon Age Origins. Huge fan. Dragon Age 2 kind of lost me. It just wasn't as fun to play. The gameplay seemed dumbed down, and I don't know. It just wasn't there for me. But everything I've seen about Dragon Age Inquisition looks phenomenal. The open world, the beautiful graphics, the fantasy storytelling, the dragons and stuff. I am really excited for that one. I am a sucker for fantasy RPGs, so
All right.
that is my number 3. For Jason's number 2, he has Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. He says, a spiritual successor to Dear Esther, a game I have never played, he says. I love the premise of playing as 6 characters living out the final hours of their lives. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that game too. Not making my list, but very excited for it. The trailer is phenomenal. I actually did a story on it back in November, so go look that up if you want. Yeah, anybody else want to say anything about that one?
Nope.
Nope. Oh, okay. That was
Sounds kind of morbid.
good times. Good times. Brendan, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is probably Destiny.
Destiny, the Bungie game.
Yes.
Good choice. Good choice.
I can't wait to see what Bungie does with it. It sounds awesome. Looks awesome.
Successor to Halo. It's man, it looks really cool. It's like a mixture between MMO and first-person shooter and Borderlands and Halo and
Stuff.
Oh my god, so cool! And then like, what's his name? Peter something from Game of Thrones is the little floating saucer thing. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's like the orb thing that he talks to during the trailers, and I don't know, whatever. So, anyways, looks awesome. It's a solid number 2. Solid number.
One
2.
of the few games that I'm actually looking forward to in the shooter genre.
I said solid number 2.
Gosh.
Oh my god.
Okay, so Lou, what's your number 2?
This is why we get like the 18 plus rating on iTunes.
We have an 18 plus rating.
I think so.
Oh yeah, well that's because I have to submit it as explicit
Oh yeah,
because we
We are.
cuss.
we're explicit.
Yeah.
You mean you cuss?
Fuck you.
It's called cursing on the East Coast.
Called cussing over here.
All right, my number 2 is going to be one that I've covered before. It's Octodad.
Ooh yeah.
It's actually coming out, I believe, next week on the PC and then PS4 later this year. I am so excited for that game. I played the demo and it's hysterical. It's been fun to play with everyone I've played it with. I played it with my girlfriend and with my brother, and I mean it's fun no matter what, and everyone does wacky shit on it. So, yeah, I think it's gonna live up to the hype. I really do.
Are you gonna play it on PC before you play it on PS4 or what?
I'm going to try and locate a PC.
Oh yeah, you don't have a PC, do you? Never mind.
Nope.
I take that back. You have a Mac.
Right, but I really want to, and I could probably find one. So yeah, I think I'm probably gonna buy it. I'm gonna either buy it and not play it, or buy it and steal a computer and play it.
Fair enough. Yeah, the game looks pretty cool to me. Not really my style of game, but looks hysterical. Every freaking trailer I've seen, I've laughed. So,
It's the sequel to Octomom, right?
yeah, that's it. That's the
It
one.
actually is a sequel, believe it or not. There's Octodad, and this one's Octodad Dadliest Catch. So I appreciate the pun.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. My number 2 is The Order 1886.
Okay.
Which I might add that last week I predicted that it's going to be delayed until 2015. So I still do believe that, but based on everything we know and based on what everyone's saying is it's supposed to be out this year. So if it is out this year, that is absolutely my second most anticipated game. I cannot freaking wait for that game. I am a sucker for alternate history, and that one looks so cool. So I nerd out over it.
Okay.
Jason's number 1 most anticipated, if I have his order correctly, or correct. He says it's The Witness, which is Jonathan Blow's follow-up to Braid, one of his favorite games ever. One of his most favorite games ever. which I don't. Is The Witness that like puzzle game? Do you guys know?
I have no idea.
Isn't it? I believe it's a puzzle game. Do you know, Lou?
I don't know. I haven't been looking at it. We're
okay.
bad at our jobs.
Yeah, well, it's not like we can only do this all day. If we could, we would know more.
That'd be great.
That'd be so fucking cool. Anyway, so, Brendan, what is your number one most anticipated game of
my number
2014? You didn't let me finish!
Okay,
Go
sorry.
on.
My number one most anticipated game has to be Star Wars Just the Tip.
Wait, what?
There's What?
Is that really a thing?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
I'm so lost.
Okay, so a few maybe a few months ago, there was a demo released by this one company.
Company.
Yes, I don't know the name, but
okay.
It was just a game where you can play with your friends and you're like a narwhal in space and you try to stab another person's heart. And you have like little control over your Star Wars, but it's just the most addicting thing ever. Like if you get at least 3 people playing, it's the most intense game you've ever played. And they just they just blew past their Kickstarter goal.
So they're trying to stab each other in the heart?
Yeah, as Star Wars do.
In Star Wars. And for those of you who don't know, a narwhal is like a swordfish. Like legendary, mythical back in the day too. Do you know that?
This apparently is a thing.
It's like a beluga,
I'm on their website.
It's like a beluga whale with a horn.
Yeah, it's a giant fish with a giant like swordfish like horn, like well not a swordfish, more like a unicorn horn but longer. It's like a mythical beast where like they used to.
A narwhal is a real.
No,
thing.
I mean it was mythical in the sense that they were rare, and back in like Renaissance-y Dark Age time, they believed that if you caught them and was it ate them, I think you would gain immortality. Like there was all these myths surrounding them because they were so rare. But sorry, that's history.
But these things,
my thing.
These are narwhals of the stars.
Ooh, Star Wars.
If anyone actually wants to look at the demo or play it, it's www.starwall.com. It's by Breakfall. I can't believe this actually exists.
Dude, you need to play it just play it with someone else and you'll play for like an hour.
We're gonna have to do that sometime. That sounds awesome.
Oh, it's happening. I'm downloading stuff now, but yeah.
All right. Lou, what is your number one most anticipated game of 2014?
My number one, rounding out my comedy picks, is going to be South Park: The Stick of Truth.
Oh God,
it looks phenomenal, and hopefully it's coming out this year. They say it's coming out this year. I hope it's not being delayed again, and I really can't wait to see that.
I feel like
I've heard great things.
I feel like it's become The Last Guardian with its release date.
Yeah.
No, I despise South Park. I loved it when I was a middle schooler and grew to hate it, and for some reason, and I don't know. I'm not interested in the game at all. But I understand why people are.
You're one of those Family Guy lovers.
I did back in middle school and high school also, but I don't like it anymore either. So. And I don't like Futurama anymore. I don't like all of them. I just grew out of them. I was like, okay, they're funny.
You don't like Futurama? Who doesn't like Futurama?
I used to love it. I used to watch it every night. But now I just, whatever. It's like...
I think I'm quitting. This is my resignation.
All right, that's fine. We'll move on. Today, the day... Mark it down, guys. 1/22, the day Lou left the podcast because he died a horrible death in a snowstorm.
There goes our New York fan population.
Oh, like we had a huge one.
Is there even one?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know if any of my friends actually listen to me.
Hey, I actually had a friend who came up to me yesterday in class and said, I've been listening to the podcast. Oh, which also brings up, he said, hey, that Lou guy, really cool. I like him a lot. So there you go, Lou.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
You're saying this to make me stay.
No, he complimented you. That was the first thing he brought up after he said he's been listening. He said that he really liked you. So there you go.
I'll stay now, but I'm expecting a compliment after each podcast.
I can't even get my twin brother to watch this podcast.
Well, I'm dropping that class probably that I have with him, so you may not be getting any more compliments. My bad. Anyways, so my number one most anticipated game, 2014, is The Witcher 3. So yeah,
Really,
I
what's that?
I wrote that down on I wrote an article about how it was my most anticipated game, so I can't go back on that now. It is still my most anticipated game by a long shot. I am
You know
so
what? I
excited.
purposely didn't pick Infamous because I thought you were gonna say it.
No, I wanted to, but I was like, it's too soon. It doesn't seem like I'm anticipating it if it's in 55 days.
Ugh.
But I am. Infamous is definitely one of them. And so
All
is
right, that's gonna be like a cloud. Everyone wants this game kind of thing.
and if I could add more, I would say Final Fantasy Lightning Returns, Tales of Exilia 2, Tales of Symphonia, Thief. There's so many games, but having to make it 3 games was hard. So, but anyways, we did it.
Okay.
We did it, guys. We did it. So let's move on to the listener questions. As usual, other than last week, we have a lot of questions from Dennis because he is our loyal listener and he loves asking us lots of questions.
I love Dennis, and I didn't even have to whore myself out for compliments this time.
He's basically our. Yeah, I totally lost that one. Never mind. Forget about it. I was going to refer to one of Podcast Beyond's loyal listeners, and I just lost all the names. So his first question. Do you guys think this upcoming generation will be the worst, like with microtransactions, DLC, and other bad business practices?
DLC's bad business?
Well, by not finishing your product and having to put out DLC to finish stories and stuff like that. I assume that's what he means. Nickel and diming us $15 every DLC every 2 months to continue stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the last generation was really bad.
But they were still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's why, because they were testing the waters and trying to see what worked and what didn't work. And I think now even companies like EA have a better idea of how this works and what pisses people off and what doesn't piss people off. Like we don't see online passes too much anymore, and I think that was pretty low for anyone.
That was a really shitty one. I see us going to more free to play games with a lot of microtransactions. Which it sounds shitty for us, but it's really good business sense for them, business practice. It makes a lot of sense why they would do something like that. They make a shitload of money off of them.
Right, and it can be done well too.
Yeah.
I've played tons of free to play games where you don't necessarily need to buy anything, and even buying stuff isn't necessarily going to help you because you could probably just work your ass off at the game and get those things anyway.
I agree.
I'm playing Hearthstone right now for the beta, and I could spend $50 getting, 200 packs of fake Magic cards, or I could just be good at the game.
Which is, you're probably going to buy the cards, aren't you? Because you suck.
You're going to make me cry.
I would probably break down and buy
I just
them.
lost 5 games right before this podcast, so it's a little too true right now.
So that's why you sounded like you were going to kill yourself at the beginning.
Yeah.
I get it. You were really close there. We're pulling you back, man. Come back to us, Lou. We love you.
Yeah, were there any more compliments for Lou?
We just gave him one. We said he loved him. Do you have any thoughts, Brendan?
I
Brendan?
hope.
Brendan?
I don't like microtransactions, but honestly, I like playing with the grinding for stuff.
Yeah.
So free to play games that just doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it doesn't. Me either. Okay. Next question, Brendan.
What was the first game and console you guys played?
I think we've answered this before.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Mine was the original Nintendo, and it was probably the very first Mario for the original Nintendo. Because that's what my sister was playing all the time when I was little, and so I always tried to play with her. So that was probably mine.
Other than handheld consoles, which I'm not sure about, I probably played Winnie the Pooh, Honey Adventure for the N64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
something like that.
if I was talking about my own personal first game like I owned that was mine and played, then it would have been like the PlayStation 1 Crash Bandicoot or the Game Boy with Pokemon Yellow. You know, those would have been my first if it was just me. But the first game I actually played would have been the original Nintendo playing Mario back in the early 90s. So, what about you, Lou?
My first video game console, I got into it through this actually because when I was 3 or 4 or something, I ended up breaking my femur, and that's the I think the strongest bone in your body. So I was in a complete full body cast essentially for like 6 months. It was ridiculous. But
Do you
my
have a picture?
dad, do you know what? I've never seen a picture of it. My parents could be making it up as far as I know. But my dad won a Game Boy from Pizza Hut on one of those weird like giveaway things that they rarely do. So he gave it to me, and my first game was Super Mario Land 2, Six Golden Coins on the brick original gray Game Boy.
Yeah, that was my first Game Boy.
It was a great system, and I love that game. I probably know all of the music by heart. I played that game for months.
That's how I feel about the original Pokemon games. I remember all that music.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, was it fun?
Yeah, I love that. I still have that thing. My iPhone cover is the original Game Boy. So
Oh,
it's
nice.
permanently etched into me.
Nice. Dennis's next question says, "Do you think the mobile game market will make handheld gaming irrelevant?"
Nah.
Well, that's an interesting twist on that question. We've been asked a lot about mobile gaming and handheld
We
gaming.
kind of like
never
thrashed it on one of the first few podcasts.
Oh yeah, we thrash it all the time. No, I don't think it's going to make it irrelevant. If anything, they're going to port games from mobile phones over to handheld consoles because they are so popular. You know.
Yeah, I hope to play
Right.
like Doodle Jump on the 2DS.
And for instance, Sony tried to flirt with the having the Vita have a phone plan, a data plan, and stuff like that with AT&T. And so, like, it more than anything, it seems like these might be combining rather than just completely taking one away. They might just make all future handheld consoles also have a phone plan or things like that. I don't ever see it knocking it out. Handheld gaming's never going to become irrelevant.
I wouldn't say never, but I think not anytime soon, at least. I was worried about it initially when the 3DS wasn't doing too well, and since since it's been amazing in sales lately, it's been the best-selling console consecutively, I believe. Um, I don't have a worry
Oh, by the
about
way,
mobile.
you brought up the 3DS, which made me think for some reason about that next-gen Nintendo console we were talking about earlier. I love the code name. Was it like Fusion?
Fusion.
Oh, so freaking cool. And it was like the Fusion DS. I was like, oh. Yeah, the Dragon Ball Z Fusion. Fusion. Ha! Oh, okay. So, yeah. You want to ask Dennis's last question?
Sure. What is your favorite controller ever?
Xbox 360 probably.
Xbox 360? Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
good one. It's
like
solid,
the
yeah.
Nintendo 64, I always felt awkward because there was that one.
Oh, I hated that.
The middle stick.
No, I used the middle stick
Well,
and
I
the
mean-
right stick, but I just never knew like it was just so awkward. Like, which two do I use?
Yeah.
Do you know why they did that?
Why?
Miyamoto purposely made it like that because he wasn't sure if the analog stick was ever going to catch on. That was the first time it was used, really.
Yep.
So he said if people didn't like it, didn't catch on, they were just going to use the D-pad, which was on the left side.
That makes sense. A lot of logical sense. That's I never heard that story though. That's cool.
Like the PS2 controller just didn't feel right because it was too
I
small.
loved the PS2
I don't
controller.
know. It was just too small for me.
I didn't like the first PlayStation 1 controller with no sticks or anything.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hated that one. But I mean, I was a little kid when I played it, so it fit my hands. I just now looking back on it, I'm like, oh god, that was horrible.
By the time I got into the PS1, I think they already had the DualShock.
yeah,
Maybe. So I didn't have to worry about that.
I did. My first PlayStation 1 experience had the original PlayStation 1 controller. I hated it. Well, I'm looking back, I hated it. But if I had to pick my favorite, I honestly the DualShock 4. I love the DualShock 4. It is so fucking good. But it's still relatively new, and so if I had to look back on like my favorite controller I've ever used, just like not like how good it worked or anything, but I loved the GameCube controller. I don't know why, but everything about the GameCube controller was just phenomenal to me, and I loved it. It was really cool. Really
That
cool.
is hands down, far and apart, my favorite too. Is the GameCube controller.
GameCube, yeah.
I don't know what about it made it so good, but it was like the perfect size, and I loved using it. And it looked like it was for kids, but it felt great.
Yeah, and it had the cool
That's
button
how I feel
layout.
about SpongeBob.
What? Okay. It had the cool button layout, and it had the stick, and it had the dual triggers, but it was just set up differently. All the buttons were set up differently. Basically, every button that was on every other controller was there. It was just a different layout. So it was really cool. The next question from Lori on Facebook. She says, if you could reboot a series that has already ended on any console, which would it be? I think we've neglected to answer this the last 2 weeks because we've been running over so much time. So we'll answer it this week.
Ooh.
Who wants to go first? Reboot any series that has already ended on any console, which would it be? That's really hard. I'll go first, I guess. Oh, God, it's so hard, though. That's what she said. If I had to pick one, I would probably go back to PlayStation 1. Granted, I didn't play a lot of PlayStation 1 series. So, like, there's a bunch of JRPG games that I probably would have loved had I started playing them later on. But if I had to reboot one, I would reboot Crash Bandicoot. God, I love that series so much.
Okay, fair choice.
I'd bring it to PlayStation 4.
I'd absolutely buy that. I'm expecting that. That was my prediction this year.
Yep, and I hope you're right.
Mine also goes to the PS1 days. I'm looking forward to hopefully a reboot of Ape Escape.
Ooh, yeah. I
Ape
played the
Escape.
demo.
Oh, Ape Escape was one of my favorite games.
It's funny that I can say that I played the demo because, like, the demo discs and stuff like that back then.
Yeah, it was hard to play demos back then. You had to be subscribed to a magazine or something. It was really a different situation.
Always did that shit, and it's just like there's so many games on PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 that I never had a chance to play, but I can proudly say I played the demo of this. Oh man. Yeah, and it's also funny that when you look back and you think about series that have ended and you want to reboot, you can't really say that about any Nintendo series.
Yeah.
They continually put out the same series.
Right.
Okay. So, Brendan.
Mine would probably be L.A. Noire.
L.A. Noire. Oh, interesting. Did you really like the first one?
The only one.
Well, yeah,
Rockstar's
I
not
know.
allowed to make any.
I know, but I had a problem with it. I mean, but I have a problem with all Rockstar games.
Are there going to be spoilers in this? Because I haven't played it yet.
No, there won't. It was just how you play a Rockstar game is what turned me off. I played about the first 2 discs, and then I just completely lost interest. I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
I just like the idea, actually having to figure out
being a detective and shit.
Yeah.
Having to solve all the crimes and
having to discern if they're lying through their facial expressions.
Yeah. Oh god, I could never do it. I was so bad.
Well, maybe if they had better graphics, it'd be easier to tell.
Well, it was good graphics at the time. It was really good. So okay, that ends our listener questions. What are you guys playing this week? What have you been playing, Brendan?
I have not started a new game since Dragon Age Origins.
And you will be starting Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z next week.
Yes.
Right? That's exciting. What about you, Lou? What have you been playing?
I just bought a lot of games. I think I'm doing Lone Survivor right now.
Okay.
I'll probably play that right after I'm done. Then what else was on the 14 for 14 sale?
Did you buy Rain?
I didn't buy Rain, no. I got Stealth Inc. maybe. Yeah, just a bunch of random Vita games here or there. I was thinking about maybe starting Soul Sacrifice.
Ooh, yeah, I played it a little bit. I rented it from GameFly back in like August, and I played the first hour or two, and I just could not get into it. It was too Monster Hunter like, and I wasn't into that. It's not my style of game really, so it turned me off. But it was good, and I know it's popular.
Right. Okay, well, I'll let you know.
Yeah. I have been playing. What have I been playing? I played Tearaway this weekend. I beat it. Um, I should, if nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to put out a review for it within the next week. I played Castlevania: Lords of Shadow. Um, what else? I played some Pixel Junk Monsters HD from the 14 for 14 sale. That's pretty fun. I'm not a big tower defense fan, but that was a fun game, or that is a fun game. I'm really enjoying that. It's basically my sit on the toilet and play a game. Because you don't have to play it for very long. It's like a short tower defense thing. So I'm like, okay. Yeah, that's about it. So what's released this week?
So much stuff.
So yeah, again, we're still in the dead period until like next week when we start seeing games start to roll out more. But Lou, what came out on PS3?
PS3 got Grid 2 Reloaded.
Exciting, a racing game. On PS4, nothing. On Vita, Ollie Ollie, which is like a side-scrolling skateboarding game, I believe, which I heard is quite fun. So I don't really know. On Xbox 360 and Xbox One, there was nothing. On PC, Brendan.
Insurgency comes out, Blackguards, and Ikusa Otome Suvia.
Which is sounds like a Japanese game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was Swedish.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. I'm being racist. It's like the Swedish company was like, "Damn him, that was ours."
And Nintendo has nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
Your quality's going shitty again. Good thing we're at the
Damn
end.
it.
We're at the end though. So anyways,
Okay.
that wraps it up. As of right now, we are recording on Wednesdays and releasing on Thursday mornings probably. You'll know by the time it's released. But our schedule may change again. We may go back to Tuesday nights. We don't know yet. We've got to talk it all over. Things are fluid right now since it's the beginning of a semester, so everybody's schedules are crazy. You can always talk to us, comment on anything. Email us at mong.podcast@gmail.com. Find us on our website at middleofnowheregaming.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Where at, Brendan?
On Facebook, Middle of Nowhere Gaming Mong, and on Twitter at Mong Podcast.
Now, be sure and check out the website for the latest blogs and reviews and previews and all that good shit. Our latest blog was one by Lou. What did you write today?
I wrote my Thomas Was Alone review, and spoiler alert, it was good.
It was good. Yes. And I wrote an anticipation piece for Kingdom Hearts HD 2.5 Remix. So go check that out. And also, you can find our podcast on our website. You can find it on iTunes every week. It'll automatically go there. So you can go ahead and subscribe and rate us there. And we are now starting to put out our podcast in video form on YouTube within a few days after we release, except for this past episode, I forgot to. So I'm going to be doing that with this one probably this weekend. So be sure and check those out if you don't want to listen to it in MP3 format. Obviously, if you're here now, you've listened to it in MP3, so fuck it. You can find us. You can find us all on Twitter. You can find me at Osborne_2009. You can find Brendan at
Brendan Jester.
And you can find Lou at
Lou Cantaldi.
So thank you for listening to.
Oh wait,
what?
You know what? One more thing. I think something we should add to this is maybe we should put out our PSN names too, if you have one, or your Xbox name if you have one.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'd love to be friends with anyone who listens to this, all two people.
That's a good idea. You can add me at Osborne 2009, OSBORN 2009. That's PSN. Don't add me to Xbox 360 because that's not mine and I don't really care. You can find Brendan on his Xbox 360 at
Like it wasn't me with 2 zeros
2 zeros for where?
at the end.
At the end. So it wasn't me 00.
Yeah.
Okay, you can find him at it wasn't me 00 on Xbox 360, and you can find Lou.
If you're on a Nintendo system, you could find me at King Louie. Or if you have a PlayStation account, I'm King Louie Trip, as in taking a trip somewhere, or that I'm the third.
Fair enough. Anyway, so thank you for listening to the Middle of Nowhere Gaming Podcast, episode 16. We will talk to you again next week, and I hope you all enjoyed it.
Goodbye.
Mong.